Something different happened in Baltimore, and it didn't go unnoticed. The moment news about Lamar Jackson's health started making the rounds, the mood shifted instantly. This wasn't just any rumor. It was a kind of update that makes everyone stop and think. This could change everything on Sunday, because when it comes to Lamar, nothing is small. A minor detail turns into an alert, an absence turns into concern, and every update suddenly feels like a decision point. What's really going on here? What's an actual risk? And what might just be a short-term scare? Stick with me until the end, because the next details explain why the situation deserves full attention right now. When the week's practices kicked off and Lamar Jackson was on the field, it immediately became a talking point. That's not something you see often, especially at a time when every detail matters, every rep counts, and any absence stands out. For a team that relies so heavily on its quarterback, seeing Lamar miss the first practice of the week naturally raised eyebrows. The explanation came quickly. Lamar was dealing with a flu-like illness, the kind that drains your energy and forces your body to slow down. It wasn't an injury. It wasn't fallout from the previous game. It was simply his body asking for rest. Even so, this late in the season, nothing like that ever flies under the radar. The Ravens walked into that Wednesday fully aware that the matchup against the Patriots would be tough, meaningful, and leave zero room for mistakes. That's why anything involving the health of their most important player immediately changes the atmosphere in the building, shifts conversations, and puts everyone on high alert. And that's exactly where the story starts to carry more weight, because that initial absence didn't stand alone for long. What looked like a small scare early in the week quickly opened the door to an update that could completely change how the rest of the situation is viewed. Even though it was just a flu, the issue was never only the illness itself. It was the timing. The Ravens entered this week under pressure, needing wins, fully aware that any slip could be costly in the playoff race. When Lamar didn't practice on Wednesday, the reaction was immediate. This couldn't be happening right now. In a normal week, maybe it wouldn't have felt as heavy, but this wasn't a normal week. The team was trying to build momentum, coming off an important result, and needed to turn that into something consistent. Any sign of instability threatened that progress and brought uncertainty into the building. And Lamar isn't just the starting quarterback. He's the balance point of the offense, the player who changes calls, adjusts plays, and controls the tempo of the game. When he's not there, even as a precaution, everything around him shifts into full alert mode. That's why his absence carried so much weight at first. But what felt like a growing problem started to change quickly, because the Ravens didn't take long to deliver an update that completely altered the tone of the conversation. On Thursday, the news was clear and straightforward. Lamar Jackson returned to practice as a full participant. No limitations. No visible extra precautions. No signs that the illness was still holding him back. That initial concern lost a lot of its power right away. That kind of return matters. For a quarterback, practicing fully means getting rhythm back, regaining confidence, and feeling in control of your body again. It shows the energy is back and that the issue truly stayed in the past, without directly affecting performance. Inside the Ravens building, that changes the entire week. The offensive plan stays intact. Practices move forward without emergency adjustments, and the team can focus on the opponent instead of backup scenarios. The attention goes back to football, execution, and winning. Still, there was one piece left unresolved. Because even with the full practice, the team hadn't officially locked in Lamar's status for Sunday, which kept the story alive just a little longer.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
The Ravens haven't officially confirmed that Lamar will start on Sunday, but the picture is pretty clear. Quarterbacks who practice fully in the middle of the week, without an injury involved, almost always play. That's league protocol. That's the standard. In this case, the caution feels far more procedural than practical. The team follows its process, avoids rushing announcements, but internally the read is simple. If nothing changes, Lamar plays. The flu is no longer the headline. That clarity also helps the locker room stay emotionally steady. Players prepare knowing who will be under center, who's calling plays, and who's leading the offense. That kind of certainty matters, especially in games that carry real weight. And that stability leads straight to the most important point of this entire story. Because at this stage of the season, Lamar's presence isn't just a bonus. It directly defines how real the Ravens' chances are. With a balanced record and sitting outside the playoff picture, the Ravens enter the final stretch knowing every game feels like a must-win. There's no margin for error, no room for improvisation, and every detail carries more weight than ever. Having Lamar Jackson healthy completely changes the outlook. With him on the field, the offense gains creativity, unpredictability, and confidence. Without him, the team loses identity and becomes far more limited, especially against well-coached opponents. That's why this week's update goes beyond a simple medical note. It represents continuity, stability, and a real chance for Baltimore to keep control of its own destiny in a tight playoff race. In the end, everything quietly points to the same conclusion. As long as Lamar is upright practicing and leading the team, the Ravens stay alive, competitive, and confident they can turn pressure into answers on the field. Lamar Jackson's situation showed just how heavy every detail becomes at this point in the season. One missed practice turned into an alert, one update shifted the mood, and suddenly everything revolved around the same core issue: the health of the quarterback who sets the rhythm, the confidence, and the true ceiling of this Ravens team. With Lamar back on the practice field and trending toward playing, Baltimore keeps its hope alive to fight until the very end. But the message from this week is clear. There's zero room for complacency now, because every game directly shapes the team's future. Looking at this situation, do you feel confident Lamar is ready to lead the Ravens in this crucial matchup? Or is there still that nervous feeling heading into Sunday? What comes next could separate a forgettable season from a late push that changes everything. As long as Lamar is standing, the Ravens keep believing, keep fighting, and keep pushing against the pressure. Now it's time to watch closely, because the next chapters promise intensity, and nobody's going to want to blink.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.